a book that is real? Nonfiction. Oh my God, you're the bane of my existence. I'm 27 years old. I've been getting taught this for probably 23 years of my life. Age 4, 22. I'll give myself that. Kindergarten, I know we were talking about it because I remember being at the library like, what the fuck is this woman talking about? It never clicked, and it blows my mind how someone got away with this. How did you get away with it?
Wait, it's not that deep.
Hey everybody! Welcome back to Not That Deep with Dana Joy. I'm so grateful that you are joining me today because I just got back from the library. And if you're wondering what a library was, it is where Matilda films. And I don't actually know that much more about it, but libraries kind of were put on the map by Matilda. Me as a young girl, I went to this big warehouse and I would get my books. And I would take out my books and I would read them, or I would take them out and then log my reading in my reading log, and I would convince my teachers that I indeed read the book, even though when they asked me, did you just read the book? What happened in chapter 7? I wouldn't fully understand, and then they would say, but your reading log was filled out. I thought that warehouse was just a warehouse, but then Matilda taught me that it's a library. So thank you, Matilda. And then the Trunchbull taught me that the chokey is just a really good place to relieve your anxiety. I would actually love if I had a chokey. A chokey is the modern day conference room. The chokey is where you go to let off steam. It's a little risky. It's a little bit dangerous, but you have peace. You have quiet. You're by yourself in the chokey. I don't see what was so bad about the chokey. Okay. And then Bruce is what happens when you don't go on Ozempic. They need to make Matilda today. It would be like, why the chokey is actually not that bad of a place. I could see that being like an article on BuzzFeed, or it's like, which Matilda star would you sleep with? And it's like, none, but probably Miss Trunchbull. Oh my God. My friend told me her sexual awakening was Miss Honey. And I'm like, that's so boring. Why don't you be a little crazier with that? Like, my sexual awakening was Danny DeVito at the car shop. One up me. I dare you. Or Miss Trunchbull saying much too good for children when she's like shoving chocolate in her mouth. You have to have no shame as that actress. I'm actually, after this episode, I'm going to look up where is Miss Trunchbull today. If she's dead, I'm going to flip my lid. I feel like I would be notified of that. I don't think she's dead. But like, what does she look like? Because they really made her so ugly in that movie. She's probably a pretty girl, but I don't know. I think being notified of actors' deaths, like, you either find out right when it happens or you find out 7 years later. Like, you don't find out that someone died like 3 weeks ago. Like, you ask about someone and they're like, oh my God, they died like last October. That never happens. You find out right away, or it's like 7 years from now and you're watching a movie and you're like, what else is that guy in? And then you look him up and he like died in 2018. And you're like, damn, how was I living without knowing this information? And then you keep watching the movie. I remember when Michael Jackson died. This is so random. Guys, I apologize. I think it's fun to go on my tangents with me, but if not, sorry, I just a baby. Like, when Michael Jackson died, I will never forget the scream that my sister scrummed in the kitchen. I was in the den. My sister was in the kitchen and the radio was on, and I just heard the biggest scream. And I thought, oh my God, did someone just get stabbed? I was so concerned that someone got stabbed that I stayed put where I was. I didn't get up to check out if someone got stabbed. I just was like, That was a big scream. And then I kept watching Drake and Josh. It's like, I never thought that I'd be so simple, but. And then I'm like, I found a way. Ah! So then Kayla comes running in and she's like, oh my God, Michael Jackson died. And she just starts hysterically crying. And listen, I think when someone has such an impact on you, you need to cry. But Kayla also cried when one of the Real Housewives' fathers passed away. So not the Real Housewife, not the Real Housewife's husband, the Real Housewife of New Jersey, Teresa, her father passed away, which in Kayla's defense, he was a very strong, convicted character of Real Housewives of New Jersey. No. Rest in peace, no. And yes, was there probably a hint of our grandpa had died like a month before? 100%. But the point is, like, we get attached to these people and we either know exactly when they died, the day of, within an hour, or 7 years later. I think that I beat that point, beat that to a pulp. So I'm super excited. I went to the library, and whenever I go to the library, I'm like, I'm going to get a book that I'm going to learn from. It's kind of like podcasting. What should I listen to? What should I read? Most of my brain feels that I should be educating myself. I should be learning about something that I don't already know about, which, shocking, it's a lot. It's a lot of things. I want to teach myself something new. I want to hone in on a new craft. I want to bring something interesting, light to the table. When I'm at a dinner party next, I can say, did you guys hear about blah, blah, blah? I just read a book about it. Did you guys know that? Blah, blah, blah. I just listened to a podcast on it. Right? I want to be that person. I'm not going to be that person. And you should not change yourself. You need to stay true to who you are. And what I mean by that is, every time I go to the library, I go to the fiction section. Wait, fiction, fake. Yes. I go to the nonfiction section. I go to the true section. And while I'm here, bear with me. Who came up with the word fiction and why? At what point in their life were they like, oh my God, I just need a word for something that is fake? Is fake. What about we did fiction? Fiction, right? So if a book is fiction, that means it's not real. It's made up. Okay. But what should we use for a book that is real? Nonfiction. Oh my God, you're the bane of my existence. I'm 27 years old. I've been getting taught this for probably 23 years of my life. Age 4, 22. I'll give myself that. Kindergarten, I know we were talking about it because I remember being at the library like, what the fuck is this woman talking about? It never clicked, and it blows my mind how someone got away with this. How did you get away with this? It still confuses me. Fiction, fake, because I feel like the one word should be the true. Fiction should mean true. And then nonfiction should mean not true. It's backwards. It doesn't make sense. And then they try to convince you that you're stupid. I won't stand for it anymore. Am I from Canada? I won't. So I go to the nonfiction section. The not the not fake, which is true. I'm literally doing math in my head. I'm like I'm like carry the 9. Okay. So I go to the nonfiction section and I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick something that I'm going to learn from. And all these books look interesting. I'll give them that. Some are biographies. I forgot all of my library terminology. They really make you learn that, and they're like, forget about it. It's like script. Like, why are you making me do this? But unlike script, the library actually helps me in my life. But clearly I'm not learning from it. But okay, so I need to do flashcards on library terminology before I set face in there again. Set foot, you know what I meant. So I go to the nonfiction section, and there's books about trees and people surviving war and pay discrimination and gender inequality. And it's really interesting. And I end up grabbing a book about healthcare workers and their grief and their loss that they've experienced. Like a little depressing, yes, but I felt like it would give me a different perspective than what I have every day, which is literally just my own, unless I'm putting myself in someone's shoes, which I do a lot, especially if they're Louboutin. That's what Carrie Bradshaw would say. She'd be like, the only time I walk in someone else's shoes is if they're couture. It's like, shut the fuck up, Carrie. I'm trying not to say as much because when I edit the videos, when I edit these episodes and I hear the word it's like, what if you just took a breath? I actually yell at myself. What if you just didn't say that? Okay, so I'm going to try my best. If I say scream at me. Okay. So, yes, the book is about healthcare workers and the struggles that they go through, and I am excited to read it because I think it will give me a ton of appreciation, but also, yes, just gain a different perspective. And it looked very interesting from the bio. And I can't just check out one book because what if I want to read a juicy thriller? And this is the age-old issue with me, is when I take out that nonfiction book and pair it with a fiction book, only the fiction book is getting read. There's a 20-day turnaround of when I have to return both of these books back at the library. You know damn well that I am not reading this book about this amazing heroic story about healthcare workers. I'm sorry. And I'm not going to read the one about the juicy couple at the resort where somebody gets murdered. That in no world is that going to happen. And I keep doing this. It's not just with these two books. For example, I got a book about a biography. I think is it called a biography? About someone wrote it about them. Autobiography. Oh my God. Autobiography about someone prominent in my world. I thought it would be interesting. I couldn't put the other book down. And by the time I finished the other book, it was time to return both. Dana, but you can extend the other book. Yeah, but then when I go to extend it, I'm going to take out another juicy thriller. And this is my life on repeat, is reading these juicy thrillers and then questioning why I'm not getting smarter. That's why I think I need my podcast to be the more educational source, because the reading, I'll enjoy it. I will. But then I'll say, wait, I could be reading another book. Or the times that I typically read, I don't know what times you guys read. Or if you read, maybe I'm the only bitch reading in this place, you know? Maybe I am Matilda. But when I read, unless I'm on vacation in the summer, the 2 weeks in vacation that I'm on, the 2 weeks in summer that I'm on vacation, I am not reading unless it's before bed. Reading before bed has become my saving grace. It is such a good way to get off of my phone and get hooked on something. And the best way to hook me is with a juicy thriller. So that way, when I go to bed, I'm a little bit entertained, but I'm also tired because I've been reading and my eyes are not looking at a screen for once. It's like, what is this thin paper I'm looking at? What are these words? Where's TikTok? And I say, no, we don't do that anymore. And then that's when I get a good night's sleep. Do I do it every night? No. Are you serious? Were you seriously listening to me just say that? And you're like, you're amazing, Danny. You do that every night. No. Last night I told myself I was going to do it, but then I didn't have a book. So then, have to go on TikTok. I could have done a lot of things. You know when you regret doing things? You know when you tell yourself you're going to do something and then you don't do it? Like, do you actually get disappointed at yourself, or are you like, you'll do better next time? Or is it a mix of both? Because I'll actually get annoyed at myself. I'm like, you did that. Like, I'll give myself the cold shoulder, but it's just my one shoulder giving the other one the shoulder. Because it's like, don't make promises you can't keep to me. It sounds so funny, but we owe ourselves a lot. We owe ourselves a lot to set goals and do them, or try our best to do them. And I think not going on social media. What is social media actually serving you before bedtime? Nothing. It's keeping your brain wired. I'm not a scientist. I just know this. Just pulled this out of my ass. I'm amazing. But yeah, reading before bed is amazing. I also wanted to get a book because I'm going to Denver tomorrow. And I am so excited because as everyone knows, mushrooms are legal in Denver. No. I'm just kidding. That's not why. I just reminded myself of my dad, like cracking myself up. Mushrooms are legalized in Denver, and I am in my mushroom era, but that's not why I'm excited to go to Denver. I like Denver before mushrooms were decriminalized. Let the record hold. So, a few of my friends live in Denver. To name a few, Jordan McKenzie, Sabrina, Lauren Rigney, and why does Lauren get a last name? And Molly. And these girls are so freaking hysterical. They are so welcoming. They're so warm. And I lived in Denver for a month in 20. Oh, Dana, I lived in Denver for a month in 2022. And I called it my study abroad. And I picked it just because I had never been before. I thought it would be a good time. And holy shit, I was right. I loved Denver. I think if you're ever thinking, where should I get away? I want to touch grass. I want to hike. Listen, there's so much on the East Coast. You can go to upstate New York. You can go to Jersey. You could go to Maryland. You could North Carolina. Literally anywhere. The East Coast is effing gorgeous and amazing. But if you have the ability and the means to go to Denver just at least once in your life, I highly recommend it. The neighboring towns are just so gorgeous too. Boulder and Golden, and we ski in Breckenridge, and it is so fun. And I feel so lucky to be able to go and to ski and just enjoy time with my friends that aren't in New York. It's really special. And I'm smiling from ear to ear because I'm so excited. By the time this episode is released, I would have come back. I'm praying that I'm not hurt from skiing, but also my two friends, Aaron and Jess, are coming, and they're from home and they're friends with that whole group as well. So just friends being friends with friends is beautiful. Skiing to me is not that deep. Being bad at a sport is not that deep. That's a good not that deep for today. I think that sometimes I would feel scared to try something in fear of, I'm never scared of being bad at something. I'm scared of getting hurt. Like water skiing, I know I would be bad at it, but I would have fun, but I would probably get hurt. That would be my fear. What's another good example? Oh, what's like the rock climbing with no, is it called bouldering? That's another thing. I would be so bad at it. My upper body strength is not too hot, but I would have so much fun and I might get hurt. I think that even in high school, I tried out for the basketball team. I was so bad at basketball, but I said, why would I not try out? This is such a fun experience. I tried out. My friend ruined my experience and she tripped me. And if she's listening to this, she didn't make the team either. Imagine two of like the most actually, you know what? I'm not going to say two of the most non-athletic bitches because my friend is very athletic and I will give that to her. But she and I practiced basketball maybe 4 times. We shot hoops and we looked at each other and said, what if we tried out for basketball? And we were decent until she tripped me. But turns out you don't know who your real friends are until you try out for junior varsity basketball with them. No, it was so much fun. I can't scrimmage. And so I think I actually fell, but I think I'm protecting my ego by saying that she tripped me. But what I do remember is after I fell, my ankle was throbbing. I went to the hospital. And then when I came back, I showed up to I showed up to tryouts the next day with crutches. Like, it was just so embarrassing. It was like, is that girl who couldn't even like do a layup? She got hurt at tryouts. Like that sticks with you. And I remember I went up to the coach and I said, hey, so thanks so much for having me, but I'm unable to continue the tryout process due to my broken ankle. And he said, no worries, Dana. I actually wanted to offer you the stat girl position for the JV team. Oh my God. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, the boys JV team was so hot. Like, I was so flabbergasted as to why he had asked me. And I was thanking the gods that I had gotten hurt. And I shouldn't have thanked them too soon because he was offering me a position for the girls JV basketball team. He offered me a position to be a stat girl for the girls junior varsity team, the team that I hurt my ankle at tryouts getting onto and also wouldn't have gotten on even if I didn't get hurt. So I was still flattered, obviously, because he chose me. He could have chosen anyone, but he chose me. But yeah, like I'll try out. I did tennis in high school. I was not amazing, but I still did it and I had fun. Same thing for skiing. I think if anyone skied before, you know when you're skiing and you just lose control and you are like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna die. You're like, actually, this is the end. And then you don't, and you're like, let's do it again. Like, I live for those moments. Those are so fun to me. I mean, I kind of stray away from that feeling of like I'm going to pass away because that's just a sense of having control. I need to be having control. But like a little sense of fear will really push you towards the end. Also, I always thought I was such a bad skier because I always skied on the East Coast. East Coast is just full of ice. I'm not actually bad at skiing. I just can't ski on ice, which most people can't. And if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I ski on the East Coast and I'm good, shut up. Take that attitude with you elsewhere. I could use a lesson, but every time I get there, I'm just so excited to just go. My friends teach me and they're sick at it. They're sick. So when I was in 5th grade, I went skiing with my family and my friend Jess's family. Jess is going to be with me skiing. And I ended up breaking my leg. And most people would feel bad for me. I was obsessed because I got so much attention and I had crutches. And that's when I knew I had a problem. And then I went skiing. I'm like, all done with that story. And then I went skiing 3 years ago. I'm going to set the scene really quick. I went with Jess again. I went with Jess and her sister. My sister could not come. She was not feeling well. She didn't have a cold. She has a chronic disease. So me, Jess, and her sister, Lauren, and 3 of us pick up food at this deli that I used to work at, which you guys have heard about before. I pick up a sandwich, my favorite. It's called the Amazing Alexis. I pick up the Amazing Alexis. I eat it before we go to the slopes because you have to be assassinated. Oh my God. You have to eat. You have to have fuel. You can't just go on an empty stomach. Like skiing as a non-skier is so involved. Like you get there, you got to schlep to the rentals. You got to schlep your boots on. You get all hot and sweaty and then you make it to the slopes. Oh no, I have to pee. Like it's so involved, but it's beautiful. Everyone's like heavy in their boots. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. It's so much fun. And we finally get our boots on. We finally get our skis and we do one green hill and it was so crowded. There were so many kids. I was like, this is brutal. This is so brutal because yes, I'm looking out for the kids, sure, but the kids should be looking out for me. They should see me and say, that woman has not had a single lesson in her life. She is just free balling it. And then they should like tell their instructor from Italy that I need help and then give me a lesson, you know? So after that run, we were supposed to meet at the bottom. And I was like, oh my God, why do I feel like I'm going to be sick? You know, is it really hot in my suit? Is it the elevation? Of course it's not the elevation. We're in New Jersey. My mind is racing. So I stomp my boots over to the lodge and I go to the bathroom and I mean, the Amazing Alexis was not amazing. I'll tell you that. I was so sick. And the worst part of it all was before I actually made it to the bathroom. So I just got off the slope. I'm sweating. Like, I'm sweating like a fool. And I'm like, you know what? You know when you're like, the difference between sweating and sweating like a fool. Sweating is when you just, you bike a little bit too hard and you're, I broke a sweat. Sweating like a fool is, I think I'm going to projectile vomit in 7 minutes. And there's like the lodge area where everyone's getting, all of the peasants are getting into their rental boots. Everyone is just like standing around. It's a crowded locker room. I hate it. Everyone's like yelling at their kids. When am I going to eat? Like, shut up. I paid way too much money for you to ski today, little Timmy. And I see a garbage can. And it's one of those garbage cans where you have to like push your hand in almost to like put something into the garbage can. I take that lid off. I fully take the lid off and I vomit straight into the bucket. Are there people watching me? Yes. They are all around. I cannot even find it in me to care. I am vomiting so aggressively. Also, if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm sensitive to vomit, okay, turn it off. I'm almost done. Please don't turn it off. I'm almost done. I'm sweating even more in my suit. It was so awful. Also, like, my phone is like buried in my snow pants. I have no service. Also, when you're walking in your skis and in your ski boots and you have to like go heel to toe and it's so uncomfortable. I'm throwing up. I look probably the most disheveled woman anyone's ever seen. And then when I finally can stop for 2 minutes, I go to the actual bathroom and then I throw up a lot. And then I go outside because I needed air. And Lauren and Jess were like, yeah, we're done too. And I was like, hold on. Because like, I can't move right now. So that was my last time skiing with Jess. To make a long story long, it was really fun. It's a really fun story to look back on. And I said that in the moment. I said, I know that this is horrible right now for me and for you guys, but this is going to be funny in a couple of years. Trust me. I can't wait for Denver. I can't wait for memories. I can't wait for stories. I can't wait. I just can't wait. I think a change of pace is really important for anyone, but I'm ready to go to Denver for a couple of days, reset, get my hair done. And in the meantime, as I am back by the time this airs, keep it real, people. Keep making others feel good. Make yourself feel good. If you want to feel good, text me for a hype up. I'm so here for you. All in all, thank you so much for listening to Not That Deep. Please rate me 5 stars if you feel so inclined. And feel free to comment. And thank you so much. Bye.